During the night, Steve and Beckett are going to lay the flowers at Peggy's cabin, but find someone else there. They silently walked through the dark night with tiny steps. There was some noise, but that came from them constantly arguing. "I thought you knew where her cabin was," Steve said to Beckett. "And I thought you knew," he said back. The camp was big, and it could take them a while to find her cabin. They walked behind barracks, through bushes, until Steve fell down with his face in the mud. "Smart move, pal," Beckett says. He helps Steve back up. "If you keep doing that, then she will be in Hodge's hands before you can see the light of day. And you know what will happen then." Steve began to walk forward. "What is he gonna do, rape her?" he asked. "Yes, and he will violate her in ways that even us man would never be able to think about," he tells. This kind of scared Steve. "But she is a strong woman, you saw it yourself," Steve said. "Yes, I saw Steve. But my girlfriend was just as strong as Agent Carter, and look at what that scumbag made of her. I swear if he gets another woman for his dirty mind, I will slice his throat personally," Charles declares. A few minutes later, well, actually it is an hour later, but they don't have watches. They finally reach the cabin of Peggy Carter. "Finally, now I can..." He was cut off by Charles, who shushed him. He pointed to the open room in the cabin. It was late in the night, so they couldn't see that much. "Hodge is there," Beckett says. "What is he doing here?" Steve asked. "Who knows, if I have to guess. He wants to take a better look at his prey, if you know what I mean," he said. Steve looked clueless at Beckett. He sighed. He is gonna watch her body to see if she is good enough for him, he tells. Steve understood that now. With Peggy didn't know what got in her head, letting that disgusting fool Hodge ride with her. He got too close for comfort. He even had the guts to almost grab her breast. She asked herself the question how long she could endure him before she went crazy. She was now in her cabin, ready for a good night's sleep. She stood up and slowly unbuttoned her brown vest. After a while, she took it off and laid it on her bed. Next became her white undershirt. She took it off, leaving her in her pants and bra. With Steve, Charles, and unfortunately Hodge. Hodge looked with anticipation at the woman undressing in front of him. He now saw how she took off her pants, leaving her in only undergarments.
"Come on, hot stuff, only 2 more things,"
he said silently. "Enough!" Steve thought. He came from his hiding spot and tackled Hodge to the ground. Beckett sighed once again. "How can you treat a woman with so little respect?" Steve harshly said. Hodge quickly took the overhand and pushed Steve off him and punched him in both the face and stomach. Steve cried out in pain.
"Stay out of my business, wimpy boy!"
Hodge yells. He was about to punch him, but was suddenly pulled on the ground. Beckett pulled Hodge his right arm and pulled it so hard you could hear a loud snap. Hodge wailed on the ground, and Beckett kicked him one more time.
"I will get you for this,"
he yells and runs away. Beckett quickly walks to Steve, who lays unconscious on the ground. The next morning, Steve woke up with a harsh pain in his stomach. When he looked around, he was back in his barracks, and he saw Charles sitting by the table. Charles walked to him and gave him a cup of tea. "Here, this will soothe the pain," he tells. Steve thanked him for everything and asked about the flowers. "I laid them before her door. Don't worry about it." After Steve finished his, they went outside for the morning routine. Agent Carter came along but looked a a little different. Her face was a little red, and her right was also a little swollen.
Soldiers, last night someone laid a pair of azaleas before my cabin. Will the person who did it please step forward?
She asked. Steve wanted to step forward, but Charles stopped him. He was surprised why he did it. Instead, Hodge stepped forward.
I was the one who laid those beautiful flowers before your cabin, dear Miss Carter,
he said, nonchalant. Peggy walked closer and punched him in the face, stomach, and arm. And since his arm was already in a cast, it hurts even more.
I'm allergic to azaleas, fool,
she yelled. Steve was shocked and surprised. While Charles left, I'm sure most of you didn't expect that ending of this chapter. I also have a question to everyone. What do you think of my OC, Charles Beckett? I'm very curious what you think of him. Greetings to everyone, and I see you back for Chapter 4.